so much for coming to the rescue this morning. I know
You are
Amy
so...
was very appreciative.
Well, I was just like, I felt so bad. I was like, what is going on?
Is there something we can do when that happens? Because I felt so bad for poor Hannah because she was just like, I can't get through, and I was like, okay, let me like at least get on and message this person to let them know. I assumed it was probably maybe even than it was, but.
Yeah, the only thing that we can do is Jonathan's going to try and come by this weekend and install a switch rather than having to get up onto the ladder and return. There was a power bump in the middle of the night, and I have a thing that's supposed to prevent that. Clearly that's not working.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I wish.
Glad we were able to solve for it.
Yes, yes.
And thank you very much for calling Booty down here to make it work.
I did.
You already shut everything off.
I did. Yep, I did.
That's already anyway.
So I fell in the
Same girl. He's good. So I have stuff to catch you up on. That's why I'm saying we got to get together and do a hangout at some point then. Well, so we don't have anything on Friday, but Saturday we're going out for our anniversary because our anniversary is on the 20th. Yeah, we said a lot of balance, and I started this night, we were walking on Thursday again today, or this week, and then did two, I did back-to-back weeks. Oh, you did? I was like, ooh, oh, yeah, I'm feeling it.
I was pretty wobbly. Good morning. How are you? Good. How are you? How can I help you? Just that list that you gave me yesterday. Oh, okay, cool. All right, the technology. Yeah, something. And then you guys will do that same little semicircle that we did yesterday.
Ashley, can I do anything else for you before I get out of here?
No, you're great.
Sure.
Okay, yes, it's all good.
All right, I'm going to get the ladies, and then I will be out, and you guys can yoga school it up.
Love it. Okay. 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 Oh, let me shift directions. Yes, I can do that. You're welcome. Okay. I will shift. Okay. Thanks, Krista. Okay. Bye, City. Thank you. We definitely will.
Do you want me to bring out that whiteboard?
Pretty please. That would be awesome. I might just tack that onto your tag.
Bring it out.
Thank you, lovies. So, Yang, did you see where I received your contract?
I was just in the other one too.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning, good morning. There's two. So there's one up front. Hi Charlotte, how are you, babe? There's one up front, and then there's one in the very back. So you can use either one. The one in the very back has a freezer as well, and it's not nearly as full. But the one in the front is all good too. Was using my phone as a clock yesterday. It's not so good as a clock. I want to be able to see my monitor here, and I can't, just because it's going the wrong way. So this is a technical thing I need to work with Jonathan about.
Okay.
So it's not, thank you for helping. I appreciate it. I'll get it all set up. What did you, what?
I forgot my boiled eggs at home.
Oh.
My kids found so many.
Hey, Rams.
Hello, lovely lady. How are you feeling today?
I am super sore.
I bet.
I
was thinking about you.
I did not sleep. I had to take medicine last night. I'm struggling. I fell in the parking lot yesterday. Really, really hard. Harder than I've ever fallen. And I just caught a toe. And that was it.
Sweet, man.
I'm ready for it to chill out.
Well, let me know if I can help at all. Katie's here.
Yeah, hey.
Love it, love it, love it.
Hand?
Yeah, Ooh, purple.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It is
sorry.
so-
No, it's okay. It's okay. Hey, Miss Sarah.
Good morning. Oh, wait, actually, we're just waiting on the last two. I know Shelly's not going to be here today. I called Haley yesterday, but...
I talked to her.
Okay, cool.
So she's supposed to be checking in today, but she says that she doesn't see the classes or anything online, and I don't know what else to do because she's on there and she's.
That's weird.
Was she doing it online?
Oh, at least this weekend, because she's sailing or something this weekend, or on a cruise or something. Nice. Alrighty, let's go. Good morning, good morning. I'm going to turn the air down just a little bit. So clearly I was unclear on Saturday morning classes. You get to choose an 8 or a 9:30. One of the two. So that you guys come in warm. Sorry, I apologize. Clearly, because I think there was only a few. So that's an Ashley issue. On Saturday mornings, you choose a class, either 8 or 9:30. Yeah, no, so it's literally, it has to be 8 hours in order for us to meet the requirements of Yoga Alliance. And so 2 of those are a posture lab, and then 1 has to be another class. And so we didn't want to add another one at the very end, so the one, you get to choose one before, and it'll be the same on Sunday.
Okay, so we pick a class on Saturday.
And pick a class on Sunday.
So we can do the restorative as our class.
No, the restorative is an addition. That is, restorative is part of the curriculum.
The restorative part of the curriculum?
It is. Yeah. Now, you don't have to go to all of them, but if you go to all of them, all of your restoratives are checked off the box. We highly recommend that you do the one after, because that way you get to integrate everything. Yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Too many things in my brain.
Do we need to make up appointments today?
No. No, because clearly this was an Ashley issue.
If the whole class misses it,
Yeah. If more than 2 of you miss it,
if you miss it, it's a random thing. I
Yeah.
learned that one.
And tomorrow, everyone will be at the 11:15, your 11:15 class. That's the regular class.
hopefully. I mean, you get to choose. If you don't want to come to the 11:15, if you want a break, then you can come to either my 8 o'clock or the 9:30. Yes. Yeah.
I have it scheduled in the day to come at 11:15. But that's the yoga at 11:15.
Yes. But if you want to come to the 8 o'clock, because some people prefer to do yoga early. So if you want to come early, okay. You get to sleep in. You get to do you. Yes. It's much better than snuggling with Ashley.
Well, you know, it depends. And if I like them or not that day. Okay.
It's under Haley. I think it timed out or something funny like that. So, alrighty. So we're going to continue today with our comfort zone where we kind of left off. But I want to start off with any questions from yesterday's session. Anything that you wanted clarification on? Anything that you wanted to touch base on? Retouch? Yes, Katie. Yeah, you just choose a class before session begins. That way you're warm. Because we will jump into things really fast, and you want your body to be warm. And we'll cool it down a little bit with the temperature so that we all can stay awake. But one or t'other will be good. Woo, I think Danielle's music is still on. Welcome. Welcome to special technology. So let me check in and then see if I can take over.
That happened when I had to click on class. And they're like, this is great music. I'm like, and it's not mine, and I don't know how to turn it off.
So for future reference, if you click in, then yours will take over, and then you can hit pause on yours.
Oh, okay. I don't even know how to click in.
Do you have access to Weem, the Weem app? Okay.
No, we never did that.
Okay.
Later problem.
Okay. Either, yeah, first world problems.
I just went with it.
Okay, anything else from yesterday? Yeah, go ahead.
Do you mind resending the tracker of what is
Okay, Krista, can you handle that?
Tell me?
Send the tracker?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to send it right now.
Okay, okay. Yes, love.
I just wonder whether you're going to share the PP, the presentation.
The PowerPoint. Yes. Will you send the PowerPoint as well?
Every month before the class. Oh, yes. Of course.
Perfect. Okay, anything else? Anything on 4 agreements? Anything on any of that? Okay, then we'll hit it. So as we probably want this big, so you don't want to see like all of my stuff going on. Yeah, okay. So comfort zone. Comfort zone is it's kind of a prickly thing. We all like our comfort zone. We all like what it feels like when we know what we're doing, when we're comfortable there, when you feel safe and definitely in control. But there's really no new stimulus for growth in that space. And it's very predictable. This is your baseline, hopefully, that you function on a daily basis. This is where we stay, like if a teacher says to bring it into a yoga place, if the teacher says do an extended side angle, and you're very comfortable in your extended side angle, and then she says, oh, maybe you allow this to be unsupported. And you're like, I'm good, not moving. And you're like, okay. And if that's what your body says that day, that's good. If we want to change, if we want to grow, maybe you try unsupported. Or you can pull a Doris, and you're going to come here for the parallel arms. So teachers are going to give you spaces to go, and you check in with your body. Does your body say yes? Is it going to be in that comfort zone? Or am I going to shift and try? Because what's the most amazing feeling is when you like, I don't think I can do that. And you do it, and you're like, I got this. This is my new baseline. And then the next zone, as we're going to start to move out, is our fear zone. Now, I don't know about you, but as soon as I start to get into this zone is when I begin to hear the excuses of, not right now. I don't feel like doing that. That's not going to be good for me. So as soon as I begin to hear that mental chatter, I know that the struggle is real. The struggle has begun. All change begins at struggle. All change. If we don't struggle, we don't change. Now, we can either accept that, or by accept it, I mean say, okay, I'm going to try a little bit, or we can stay right where we are. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if we want to continue to grow and to learn and to challenge ourselves, we have to go through this fear zone. So the doubt gets really loud. The self-comparison gets really loud. Rather than the, I'm going to breathe, take this in, and see how it feels in my body. Because again, when we can shift into that and try it, sometimes our bodies are ready for that. I think you were in a class this week, Doris, sorry, and you were, and and I could be wrong, but you were in a crow, and I said, you are ready to hop that back. Was that you this week?
Yes.
Okay. And you looked at me and you said,
I don't think so.
that's what you said. Okay, good. I recall it correctly. And I was like, do you want to try? And you said, okay. And you did. And it worked. Okay. So, well done. And do you now feel like your comfort zone has shifted? Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not afraid to do that. It's funny because I used to be able to do things at one point in time when I was doing a bit more of yoga. And it's like I could just go into a headstand. I could just go into a handstand. And now I'm in the fear zone. It's like I'm more cautious. I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird.
Do you know what shifted for you to shift it into that fear zone? For me, if I bust in the middle of a class, that works. That shifts me back. No?
No, I think it was 4 birthdays. And
Got it.
knowing that the bones break.
Yeah, we have to get up the next day and move. I feel that this morning. Okay, so in that fear zone, this is where our lack of self-confidence comes in. Okay? And sometimes people outside of us can see this because you were more than ready. I mean, you were like begging at, I'm ready. Okay? So, and that doesn't mean that I'm always right when I see things like that. But I certainly could see that. In that fear zone, you can certainly be affected by others' opinions and other things that other people say. In classes, I love to be motivational because when I went through school, no one was motivational. And I missed that. And when someone says, I think you might have this, do this, try this, I'm willing to go there. But if they're not going to be, I don't want to say pushing me, but at least giving me baby step options, which is why that's a lot of what I do. And if that is not good for you, just leave it. Okay? There's no malintention for you. If what Krista and I present or what the other teachers here present is great, drink it in. If not, let it fill your cup and toss it on the way out. But between when you see it and when you're ready to drink it, it might change because you might get more information. So as we move on to that next zone, this is our learning zone. So this is where someone is giving you more information, saying as you go into that crow, and you're either going to go into your headstand or into your jump back, keep your elbows bent and look forward. They're going to give you more information, or you're going to get more information. And you're going to acquire new skills. And it resets your baseline. And now it's extending that comfort zone for you. I don't know, that had to be like the perfect example. And as soon as it happened, I was like, yoga school example. And then as we move even through that, you get to learn, I just was able to do something that I didn't think I could do. You've now conquered your objective to get better, to get stronger. Even though I don't know if she would have done that by herself. Probably at some point. Krista would have pushed you at some point. And what that allows us to do is to set new goals, to find new purposes, and to really live out our dreams. And sometimes it's shocking where that goes. But what is the key to all of this is the fact that it all begins with struggle. So Sean Anker writes a lot about this, and also in The Rise of Superman, which is another book which actually talks about flow and flow states for athletes. Everything in that growth mindset has to start with struggle. So when you feel that struggle, when you feel that little niggle in your belly that says, I'm not sure, what are you doing? Have you lost your mind? Maybe not, I don't know. Listen. And then see if that's a good spot for you to step out of that comfort zone and into one of the other zones. So with this training, we are going to start noticing our thoughts. And that is really the purpose of slowing down. And so when we hear that niggle, when we hear that little, Ashley, let's think about this, or you start to hear your excuses, know that this might be a place to step out of that comfort zone. So for this training, a lot of times people say, oh, I already know this, I'm just going to check out and go on my own thing, or this isn't going to work for me, or I'm not good at that. I'm really good at saying that. That comes very easy for me. If that's really hard for me, if it was easy, everyone would do it. I think that's the best piece of advice that someone gave to me in a training. Now, I should be further along by now, also kind of goes into my brain. These are things that I say to myself as well. So just know that when you start to hear this or begin to notice this, you're on the right track. And try not push away from it. Try and steer clear of the judgment, and just let it come and sit with it and say, where do I feel this in my body? If it's in the middle of your knee joint, you listen. If it's kind of in the belly, maybe reevaluate. So when this internal struggle shows up, what are we going to do? So there's 4 things that we're going to do. So the first one is we're going to slow down. Most of the times that we get overwhelmed and that doubt sets in, it's because we're living in speed. We're trying to go too fast. I lived this yesterday. I was trying to be 1 trip Ashley, and if I'd have just been 3 trip Ashley, as Jonathan says, this is my new nickname this morning. I am no longer 1 trip Ashley. It's not worth it. He came over last night, and one thing that you may not know about Jonathan is he has a gift. He can touch people. It makes me get choked up just thinking about it. He can touch people, and he can tell what's going on. He doesn't know the words for the anatomy, but he can touch things, and then he can trace it down and touch it to something else, and then go to another part of the body and touch something else. And he'll touch all 3 of them, and I'm like, I don't know how you did that, but you got all 3. And then he'll work his little magic. So people have amazing gifts. But all last night he was like, 3 trip Ashley. 3 trip Ashley. 3 trip Ashley. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening. Okay. And then this next one is to take perspective. So one thing, just golden words that Ramsey says, is to right-size the issue. So when I right-size the issue, the world isn't ending. The world isn't going to stop spinning. It's, yes, I have a challenge, my history is, and we right-size that problem. And that's a huge part of it. When we take that time and that effort to right-size it, to zoom out and not be in the middle of the little fury, as I call it, things change. And it shifts. When we challenge our assumptions, like we talked about yesterday in the 4 agreements, don't make assumptions. Maybe you have some assumptions from growing up, from your parents. Ooh. From what you were taught as a child or in a previous relationship, and that's what we thought was truth. When we challenge that, when we say, is that really true? Has anyone read the Brene book on Daring Greatly? Yes. Yeah. So when she's doing this swim with her husband in the beginning of the book, so they're doing this swim and she gets this just an amorous feeling for her husband, and she's like, this is the most wonderful day of my whole life, thank you. And they're in this swim and they're swimming across Lake Travis, and he's like, yes honey, great. And he keeps going. She gets her feelings hurt. She makes the assumption that he's ready to end the marriage and that everything is just going to topple down, and she's like, I'm trying to express my love. And it's all about these assumptions. And they had a little come to Jesus meeting when they got home, and she's like, this is going to be a fight. I'm thinking one thing, he's thinking another thing, and it all had to do with assumptions. And she said it changed the way that they discussed things. Now, Brene Brown is my best friend in the whole world. She's never met me. I think that she talks to me directly in her books. She speaks my language. So if that's ever anything that you're interested in, we have all of these books that I talk about in the little library of the private room. If you're interested and you want to check them out, just go sign the little thing, take the book home. Also, something that I've learned this year that I find extremely valuable is to go on to ChatGPT. Brene Brown, Daring Greatly. Give me the top 20 things and teach it to me like I'm a high schooler who's very bored and it needs to be interactive. It will print out a 10-page document for you, and you can see if you want to read that book or not. It is amazing. I'm starting to use the technology better for, I think, what it's being made for. Not perfect at it, but certainly learning. And if you guys have tips like that of how to use technology better, I am all ears. Okay.
Does she narrate all of them?
She does, yes.
She's great the way she speaks.
She's amazing. And on YouTube, you can get a lot of the books. Also on Audible, they have a lot of them there. And then she has little snippets on YouTube as well. And all of that is free, which I just love. And you can also get them on Spotify. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm going to go down here. And then as you start to slow down and take perspective, change your assumptions, you get to expand through those learning zones. And you'll feel that struggle start to shift in the body. So when you feel struggle, do you know where you feel struggle in your body? Do you know where it shows up first for you? Because it's going to be different for everyone. Tanisha, do you know?
I think when I'm trying to force myself to do something and not slowing down, I'm trying to move too fast.
Mm-hmm. Where does it show up in your body? Do you know where you feel it?
My hips.
In your hips. Interesting.
I'm always tight in, I guess, in like this area.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Does it? Yeah. Ramsey, I know you know this very well.
Oh, my neck.
Your neck and your shoulders. And do you feel it as something wiggling? Or is that just me? Does it start to...
Oh, when I'm stressed out?
When you get that struggle?
Oh, the struggle? It's a tightening, it's a rounding for me.
Okay. Interesting.
Like I close off, and that's what causes me to have.
So Ramsey is also a life coach. I'm going to brag on Ramsey for just a minute. Ramsey has saved both of my children's lives. That's not blowing things out of the water. That's not exaggerating. She has gifts that are insurmountable, just incredible, and then she continues to grow and to learn. So the best part about Ramsey's words is I hear them come out of my children's mouth. When the shit hits the fan, or I'm talking about, oh, this happened to me today, and they're like, Mom, you got to right-size that problem. I'm like, thanks, babe. Appreciate it. But how priceless is that for your children to be able to start to utilize the training and the coaching that they've received from someone who is so incredible with it. So thank you for that, Ramsey. So anyone else, does anyone else know where they feel that struggle?
Feel it in my chest.
Feel it in your chest? Yeah. Yeah.
I think I notice my breath change. Sometimes I feel it in my throat.
Okay, so I get the throat, and I get it right here. So it's almost in the diaphragm area, and mine is a wiggle. It's a flutter. And so when I feel that flutter, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Okay, slow down. 1 trip, 3 trips. Yeah, 3 trips. So, whoops. Oh, one more thing that I'm going to add about this. This is not always a bad thing when we have this struggle, recorrect. If you think about an airplane's going to go from Sunport all the way to New York City. That airplane is off course 99.4% of the time, literally. And they're making tiny corrections. They still get there. And I think they still get there with all the people on board. So know that it's okay to be off course. It's okay to be making corrections along the way. We still arrive. You know, maybe if they weren't off course, they might get there 2 minutes earlier. But it's okay. This is how we are wired as humans, is to make those gentle corrections. So does that resonate? Does that mean? Okay, perfect. So the one zone that we haven't talked about is the panic zone. Okay, this is kind of off the grid. When we have gone too fast through our zones, this is not growth. This is where we start to get the overwhelm, or we shut down, or we feel like this is too much of a challenge and this goes into danger. Have you guys felt this? Yes, yes, yes. And what do you do when this happens? Do you have a plan? Do you have something that you go to when you get this overwhelm? Yeah, what do you do?
I typically try to touch my chest and breathe so that it connects back to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm safe. I feel my heartbeat kind of thing. But yeah, that's kind of what I go to.
Good, good. Anyone else?
I think I remember to just start breathing. I notice a lot of times I stop breathing whenever I'm taking very shallow breaths. And that's when I know I'm not doing okay. And then once I start kind of breathing more mindfully, I feel much better and just kind of take that space.
Love it, love it. And that is spot on. So when we take one full conscious breath, it shifts where the activity is in the brain from our amygdala, from our fear center, and it moves it to that prefrontal cortex. Okay? One breath. The slower the better. 3 breaths, even better. But you can shift how your brain is functioning with one full breath. And the best part about that is then once it's in that prefrontal cortex, in your prefrontal cortex, we'll get into more of this in the anatomy, you get to make a plan. When you're in your amygdala, your fear center is in control. But that frontal cortex, once we move it, all of a sudden we can start to think much more rationally. We can right size. We can shift our perspective. We can back out. Nice. When we're in that prefrontal cortex, we can also use our intuition. And so when we can get quiet and still, like if you have a meditation practice, that's a wonderful way to offer something up and then just listen to see what comes in. Or if you journal, or if you do any sort of priming, and we'll go into all 3 of those ways to just get in touch with really what's going on with you. Those are all great ways to start to learn how to make that plan, how to regulate you once we go into this little zone. Nice. So when we move in between these zones, so we don't ever want to live outside of our comfort zone. Some of the young athletes, I always think about Ramsey and snowboarding and Olympics. But some of those young kids who have increased on that logarithmic scale how fast they can improve their skills, it's because they're in this flow state. And they get in this flow state because they're very comfortable with that struggle, because they have learned what happens after the struggle, and that is their history. I think they also, I think their brains, they just didn't have a lot of the baggage that we have as people with birthdays. So as we move in between these zones, this is where we find that growth. So it's feeling the struggle, learning, adapting, and then expanding, integrating your new capacity on what you have just found and learned, and then returning to that comfort zone. Your ability to return to that comfort zone has to do with, any clues? your ability to rest, your ability to restore, your ability to recover. That was a big breath, Buyong. Tell me. Rest. So I see so much of me in you. I struggle with this as well, the resting part. I took a training this year. And in this training, there's a lot about this training that I could have cared less about. When I'm queen, I'll do it all my way, but I'm not going to be queen, because when I'm queen, my children said they'd leave the country. So, but in this training, they went through the science of this recovery, of this returning to your comfort zone. And they showed all these clinical trials, which I have if you're interested in, that showed that your ability to rest, your ability to take care of you, your ability to restore you, reset your nervous system, is directly proportional, not a little bit proportional, but directly proportional to your ability to perform. If you want to be more efficient, efficacious, gregarious, whatever it is that is in your abundance, how rested are you? How much have you reset? And this was permission for me to go to yin. It was permission for me to get up 30 minutes earlier and do my meditation, which when I first started it years ago, it seemed like a waste of time. Well, until the first week is over and you've done it for 7 days in a row, and then you see that everything in your whole day changes. So through this process, I hope that this starts to become a new habit for you. We're going to work on talking tomorrow, starting off with our sadhana, your daily practice. It will look different for everyone. And whatever that daily practice is, we just want you to be able to pick and choose what you need and what works for you, and to find your recipe to restore, to reset, to return to you, so that you can begin your comfort zone cycles again. Nice. Woo-hoo-hoo. So why it's important for us to get uncomfortable. We increase our resilience, our ability to bounce back. So I love to watch people who are resilient. Does anyone else? Does that like when someone goes through a hard time, not that I want to see anyone go through a hard time. Well, maybe some people, but no one that you guys know. I say that, and as soon as I say that, my next door neighbors yesterday, after all the shit that I've given them, after all the shit they've given us here, the studio, when I busted my ass out there, do you know they were the first people out there to help me? They came out with water, with paper towels, with things to wipe me down, and they picked my butt up. And I am so grateful for them today. So I'm not going to say mean things about my neighbors today. I actually I feel totally different about them, like they are human. They're just there's a fear there of something, which is why they've reacted like they have. And you know what? I have a new understanding of them today. So, sorry, going back. I totally lost my place. We increase our resilience, okay? And we can only do that through the struggle, through getting uncomfortable. It also creates history for us. Like, when you go through a class and something's really challenging for you, all of a sudden you now have a history, if we remind ourselves of it, of I just did hard things. And that's what we get to put into our backpack. So when it gets challenging the next time, where do we pull from? Not I can't do this, I'm unsure. We get to pull from, I just did that the other day. And I nailed it, and it felt great in my body. I can try. We also expand our nervous system capacity. We build new neural pathways. A long time ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, they used to say that we don't have that neural plasticity. And that's the way the books were written. And then the entire neuroscience community came together and they're like, wait a minute, we're going to check this out. One of the examples that was super powerful to me was there was a gentleman who was in a internment camp in Vietnam. He realized he was going to be there for a while. And the treatment was brutal. And so what did he do? He's like, I'm going to learn to play golf. So he went through, in his mind, every single day, 18 to 36 holes of golf. And he would pack his bags. He would drive to the club. He would talk with his friends. And then they would go through the 18 holes of golf that he was never very good at. And he would set up, and he would go through the things in his mind that he had learned trying to play golf. And he would go through his swing, and he would do it. Never swung, okay? He was creating new neural pathways. 2.5 years, he was imprisoned. They let him out. Well, they didn't let him out of prison. They rescued them. They had a prisoner swap. He came back, and he shot a 6 over par. If that's not similar to the brain not knowing the difference between reality of a lemon and the smell of a lemon, I don't know what is. Your brain is magnificent. We just have to tap into it. You get to unlock your creativity and adaptability. So creativity. Can you guys be creative if you're tired? The body doesn't have that ability. That's where we start to bring in struggle. And the struggle is not the creativeness. The struggle is, how were we able to rest? How were we able to reset? It also allows us to stop being controlled by fear, that amygdala. Okay? When we learn, I can just take a huge breath and slow down, move that issue, that challenge, that mind wave into the front of the brain, and then different neurons work on it. We're just changing the biochemistry of our bodies. And then we also get to start being guided by our purpose, our why. And then what is all of this, what does it distill down to? What is the final thing that I would say about all of this? No struggle, no growth. So the thing that I dislike the most is that struggle, is that fear zone. But without it, we wouldn't be who we are. We wouldn't have the gifts that we have. We wouldn't have the experiences that the universe has given us. And it all begins with that little S word, struggle. Krista, do you want to take over from here, or do you want me to?
So we are going to be seated for a little bit longer, which means that I'd like to give you the option to move between seat and poses today while we talk. And then that way you have a little opportunity. And this is one of the options. 1, you can be in stillness. 2, you can go side to side in your shape. 3, you can circle around. Right? Those are nice. And then you can also come forward at any time. So know that you can move from any shape on your mat for any reason at any time throughout our discussions. Okay? I'm going to change computers here. This is exactly what I need. And I'm going to pick up right where you left off. This is very exciting. I just sent you all a PowerPoint as well. And then I also sent you your Excel tracking sheet. They're 2 separate emails so that you can have them labeled appropriately and they don't bunch up in one.
Little do-si-do over here.
No worries. I'm going to present. I think. I'm just gonna pull this up. Sorry, one second. So today, let's see, a good place to get started for you all is a butterfly shape. If you would like to start in a butterfly, that's nice, right? You could. And then blocks as desks. Right? You can always put your blocks as desks. And you don't have to do these shapes either, by the way. I'm just going to give you suggestions to potentially move around as we move from slide to slide. All right. This one. I'm going to make this big. And we're going into present mode. There we go. All right. Well, this is an introduction. My name is Krista, again, for those of you that are remembering my name this morning. And what we have going on today in our PowerPoint is an introduction to the text that we're going to be talking about this year until December. And so these will continue to come back. And in this, we have our introduction as well on Seva. What is Seva? And so I have some descriptions, but I'm going to pick up right where Ashley left off. Remember our lemon experience from yesterday, right? This piece. So yesterday, Charlotte, we did the exercise where you imagine you have a lemon, and then our mouth salivates, and then we even pucker up when we feel the lemon into our mouth, even though it's not happening. And so the main idea with that is that your mind does not know the difference between what is real, what's happening in our actual physical world, and what we're imagining, that which is just happening in our mind. And to show you a little bit of the power of that, have any of you ever read the book or watched any videos on the life of water? So I have a couple videos to show you the life of water today. And they're very short. The first one comes from a documentary they made on the life of water.
Dr. Emoto's researchers used
Okay, well, my audio isn't going to transfer over unless I click out for a second. I'm going to click out for a second. Great. Because you couldn't really hear that, could you? It's okay? Okay, you know what, then I'm just going to stay where I'm at, because then I don't have to complicate my technological life right now. Okay, I'm going to turn this up.
In this experiment, Dr. Emoto's researchers
Dr. Emoto.
Tokyo tap water
Tap water, that's what that looks like.
and performed a test. Participants placed the glass in the center of their circle and sent gratitude to the water. Studying the water under the microscope, they started to see a crystal formation. Increased magnification showed the symmetry of the crystal, revealing how the tap water was transformed by the gratitude sent by the group.
That's really essentially all of the studies from water. When we talk to water, it changes. It literally changes the structure. So words can heal, words can hurt. And that's our yogic studies, is thinking about our words. What are we saying to the world? What are we saying to ourselves? And his name is Dr. Masaru Emoto. He is no longer alive. But this is what happens when we write harmony on water. Just writing harmony. Eternal. All of these different crystals begin to form. This is Hitler, right? Like, what, our water looks so different. Tap water looks incredibly different. And this is just to show, like, all of the studies that have been going on the power of our thoughts the power of prayer, the power of our manifestation simply by tuning into our consciousness, by tuning into who we are. All of the religions, beautiful. Every single, I know, right? Like, who knew? But really, they inspire people. So I just kind of wanted to give you that as our context for this work. Like, why are we doing this? Because we are made of mostly water ourselves. And so how we speak to ourselves does matter, and what we're saying in our minds is important. It's crazy, the difference. I mean, I almost feel like I see little, like, creatures in the bad water sometimes. You fool, it scatters the energy, right? It's so wild, and like, this is just water magnified. Looking at water with different words. And he says, if all people in the world have love and gratitude, the pristine beauty of the earth will shine. So really just wanted to bring that back to us, to start thinking about how we are thinking, like actually be aware of what our thought process is. And that's what these texts are going to be doing for us. They're really starting to examine our mind. Like, what are we doing in our head? What are we doing? How are we processing? How does the mind process in general? What kind of ways do we process? What kind of ways do we suffer? Why do we suffer? How do we move away from suffering? And that's the whole study of yogic philosophy, is really, what are you doing with your mind? Exactly what Ashley was saying, how we speak to ourselves. If we're saying, I can't do this, you know, I'm just not strong enough, this isn't really something that I'm capable of, our body language immediately starts changing. Like, just by saying, I can't do this, our body language, all the cells in our body are listening and are like, oh, okay, you can't do it. Kind of like what we said yesterday, that stress is your ability, your body's way of saying it's time to show up. Also, telling ourselves, I can't do this, is our body listening to that and saying, nope, actually you can't. You can't do that. If you want to change your shape, you can extend one of your legs out to one side from your butterfly. So the two philosophical texts that we're going to be studying together is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and the Bhagavad Gita. And there's a lot of free texts. There's a lot of free PDFs for both of these texts. The Yoga Sutras is really nice to do comparisons of. In terms of the Bhagavad Gita, you have been recommended the Sri Sri Gurudev Shankar text. It's a Kindle book. If you would like to get a different text in hand, I also have a good recommendation for that. They are different, though, and I'll talk to you about the differences in just a little bit. First, let's look at the Yoga Sutras for just a moment. Have any of you ever heard of the Yoga Sutras?
Yes.
A little bit?
Yeah.
A little bit. Okay. So the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Patanjali is the author of the Yoga Sutras, or the name that is ascribed to the author of the Yoga Sutras, because we don't quite know exactly who wrote the Yoga Sutras, but what we say is that they're Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And this is what Patanjali said to look like. Right? He's a mythological being, half snake, half person. And he wrote the Yoga Sutras about 2,000 years ago, a little bit over 2,000 years ago. Does anybody know what sutra means? A suture! I clicked too fast. So a sutra is a suture, and it is a thread. It's a universal narrative that Patanjali has given us, because yoga comes from the Vedas 5,000 years ago, and the Vedas are a collection of mystical experiences. So the Vedas are like really out there, and they're talking about working with fire and wind and water and earth and all of the elements. And Patanjali is like, why don't we bring all of these experiences? And so he codifies them into these sutras, which are threads of a narrative to follow. So if this is true as well. And they're really about the mental processes. And there are 4 books in the Yoga Sutras. We're going to be focusing on the first 2 books. They're really our main bread and butter for yoga, is these 2 first books. But the second 2 books are the mystical experiences that we're receiving from yoga. So the first book is about the mind. What is the mind stuff? And they literally call it mind stuff, like the chitta, all the mind stuff. The second book is the book on practice. What do we actually do? So how do we actually practice yoga? What is yoga? The third book, the supernatural powers that you attain from yoga. So if you focus on your heart chakra, you will be the most loving person and can see love in others. If you focus on your solar plexus chakra, you will be able to hear truth all the time. If you focus on each of the chakras, they each have a different quality and a different boon, they call it, a boon. It's a gift that you get from focusing. Now, in the context of focus, the boons usually come after 10,000 years. So somebody will stand in a tree pose and focus for 10,000 years. On top of the mountain, too.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like at the very top of the Himalayas.
Hopefully in a cave.
Hopefully, you know, you hope so.
In a meditative state.
In a meditative state, exactly. No food, just mantra, right? They're just standing at the top of the mountain. And then the last one is on absolute liberation of consciousness, which is the only way that they can get there, right? If they are liberated from all of their senses, then they can stand there for 10,000 years and just focus on mantra. So those are the 4 books of the Yoga Sutras. As I said, we're only going to be focusing on 2. If you want to change your legs, now's a good time to do so if you haven't already done so. Yesterday we talked about the practice of yoga begins now. That is the first line of the Yoga Sutras in book 1. Asa Yoga Anusasanam. You want to try? Asa Yoga Anusasanam. Anusa. Asa Yoga Anusa. The practice of yoga begins right now. All of the time it begins now. The second line is also equally cited. Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. You want to try that one? Yoga, Chitta, Vritti, Nirodha. Nirodha. Yoga is the stilling of the fluctuations of the mind. Or yoga is the stilling of the modifications of the mind. Sometimes like the thoughts are thought of as modifications. And remember, all of this is written in Sanskrit. And so we have the transliteration, which is word by word, what each of these words mean. And then we, like, yoga is yoga, union. Chitta is the mind stuff. Vritti are the modifications. And nirodha is the cessation of those fluctuations. And anytime you see the word N-I or the letters N-I-R, nir, it takes away the oda, the fluctuation itself. And then same with the letter A. Like in our language, in English, we also see A as a way to, like, asymmetry, right? So something is no longer symmetrical. So in Sanskrit, it's the same. We have, like, when we have the word A in front of, or the letter A in front of a word, it's going to cancel out, or it's going to reverse the meaning. Okay, good. So this is the Yoga Sutras. This is as far as I'm going to go into the Yoga Sutras today. I just kind of want to give you the context of it. 2,000 years ago is when it's written. And then at the same time, this other text is being written, which is the Bhagavad Gita. And this is serious, yeah, right? It's like business. They're different. The Bhagavad Gita is a story about a family. And it's 10 generations of a family. And so the problems begin then. And then the war happens next. And so this is an epic battle. It is about standing up to our duty and what we think is the right action. And not just based on our chitta, but based on our intelligence and our intellect and our Atman, based on meditation, based on skill. And so these are the two, they're actually very interesting together. And they're usually presented one or the other. You get one text or you get the other text. They normally, yoga trainings don't usually give you both. So we're getting both because they're both fascinating texts. And it's good to have a little understanding of both. So in the Yoga Sutras, we're going to be digging into the main yogic concepts. And in the Bhagavad Gita, we're just going to be like diving into this telenovela. You know?
What is that?
It's a soap opera.
White man. Come on.
Actually, it's a soap opera.
Okay.
It's like the juiciest of soaps. Right? And those are your two different texts. One text is very academic. And the other text is kind of very personal, like here's how the soap opera applies to you. and so I'll give you both choices. So you can make up your mind about whether you want to read the passages word by word, or you want to get the experience of like, oh, that's what he's going through, I'm going through that too. Right? Like a little bit of that relating to 10 generations that have created the problems today. Can't relate. Right? And it really is about just being in our right action and finding our own skill. So Canva can animate. Right? As you can see, and I actually have a couple of different animations on here. So the Gita, Bhagavad Gita is translated as divine song. B-H-A is illuminated. It's illuminated. Yeah, Gita is song. So this is an illuminated song. And it comes from an epic poem, which has like 40,000 verses in it, called the Mahabharata. And the Mahabharata is the story of the 10 lineages, like all of these 10 families. The Mahabharata. And the Bhagavad Gita is just coming to the culmination of actually how it's affected now and the actions that must be taken now. Oh, because you like elephants, I kept this. I was like, yes. Yes to the elephants. So the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita are written about 400 either BCE or AD. No, yes, CE. I was like remembering this BC, BCE, AD, CE. So CE, Common Era. The Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Yoga Sutras are all written in this time, a little bit before Common Era, 400 years before Common Era, 400 years after Common Era. So we have this like 800-year span that we're like, it's in there somewhere. And again, I said Ba is illuminated. For the Bharata, Bharata is the family. That's the name of the family that the whole story is based on. But then Rasa also is devoted and engaged. So engaged and devoted to that which is illuminated and illuminating, which is really what we are doing in our mind. It's illuminating all those pieces that we're not quite sure that we've hidden away,
perhaps, that we put away, that we cut off, that we like estranged a while ago, and now we're saying like, hey, you know what, all of this is me. All of this is me. And I'm not gonna hide any pieces, I get to bring them in with myself, and that's not always a linear process, nor is it a fast process, right? Like, there's layers, and there's a little discovery that we do now, but there's more discovery. Like we said yesterday, life before yoga school, life after yoga school. So all of these unfoldings, illuminations continue to occur over time. Oh, here's more, because I obviously got really excited about this. Yes, Francie.
So, okay, so the Baba Gigi, Baba, yeah.
Gigi?
Yeah, the Gigi.
The Gita.
You can call it the Gita, it's the Bhagavad Gita, and but you can definitely call it the Gita, and people will know. You can extend both
Trying to
ways
think of
however
like,
you want to, by the
what
way.
is it, the Tam song or?
I don't know.
They're the songs, but they're like, the Baba Gita, like,
Ah.
I don't know. Anyway.
We're gonna have to find it.
But, so that's the story, I'm trying to differentiate between that and
The Mahabharata.
Yeah.
So the Mahabharata is the full story of this Bharata family,
Okay,
and the Bhagavad Gita makes its way to the end of the story when we're starting to
Okay.
find the culmination. It's like the climax of the story.
okay.
So the Bhagavad Gita is when they're actually showing up, and I didn't say this, they're showing up to war, because these 10 generations of the same family,
Okay,
10 generations later, are at war.
okay, so this is like the final chapter.
Correct.
But the big story is the Mahabharata.
Mahabharata. Maha means great.
Mahabharata, and so,
Great. That's right.
So my role.
That's right.
And I'll bring my copy of the Mahabharata in.
You have a copy of the Mahabharata?
It's beautiful. It's this big,
Shush.
and it's got incredible colors, and you just kind of like, it's like story after story, and it's one of the most beautiful books I've
It's like
ever.
soap opera, like you're just.
It is like that.
Yeah, it's almost like you know, did you ever read 100 Years of Solitude? It's also a story about a family, but this is this is based on the Vedas. So this is based on these mystical experiences that these sadhus have been having. And then this is, both the Yoga Sutras and the Mahabharata are kind of a distillation, a culmination, and like just encapsulating the Vedas and saying like, hey, this is what we've understood from the Vedas. So one, we get this epic story of a family, essentially what, there's the Bharata family, and they're a royal family. And now, I'm going to say this probably 1,000 times, only because this is how long it takes. It takes at least 7 times for us to learn something, right? So a lot of our work will be repetition. I'm going to be reminding you, what did we learn? And let's learn the new thing, right? So we can consistently remember, like, what are we engaged in here? So the Bharata family is a royal family. And the king marries the Ganges River. The Ganges River.
It's probably a little easier to get along with.
She is not.
Yeah,
Actually. Mistake number 1. Marrying the Ganges River, because she was like beautiful, and she came from the cosmos, and she was a raging river, and had to be caught in Shiva's locks in order to land on the earth. And he falls in love with her, with the Ganges River, and marries her. There is an agreement between the two that he does not uphold, so she leaves him with one child only. So he remarries, and in order, when he remarries, the dad of his new wife said, the only way you can marry my daughter is if her children become rulers. This is the original seed of descent in the story. So he has already a son, He has the oldest son with the Ganges River. And knowing, and him being very noble, he says, I will take a vow of celibacy, of course your children can rule. This is the second seed of descent. The noble ruler cedes his throne. Not good. It turns out they can't really have kids anyway. So they have to conceive, and they have to conceive magical kids. So they get magical kids, 2 of them. The first one is blind. 2 kids. Again, the oldest one is blind. It's his throne, but he is blind, so they do not give him the throne. The second son, a noble heir, becomes ruler. So as the ruler now, there's Tim, his brother, and then the celibate one. Okay, the celibate one trains everybody. He's becomes teacher, grandfather, he's everybody's grandfather. The blind ruler gets greedy and jealous, of course, and makes it so that his sons rule instead. And exiles the others, sends them out. And this is a very short version. There's a dice game, there's gambling, there's all of this excitement that occurs in them giving up the throne. The king actually dies. And so what happens is the uncle says, I'll take the throne for you, don't worry. You can have the throne when you grow up, kids. The kids, 5 kids. The 5 kids representing our 5 senses, actually. The kids all grow up, and he does not give them the throne back. And in fact, they trick him with they trick the oldest son with a dice game, and he loses the kingdom. He gets exiled along with his brothers. There's a whole drama where he actually gambles their wife, because they're all married to one woman. It's just it's very juicy. And I'm as soon as I start, then there's a lot, right? It's just and then this happened, and then this happened, and then she's married to all of them.
It sounds like Game of Thrones.
That's what I'm saying. It's this is an epic story, and it's very wait, how did we get here? Hold on, rewind. Why are we at war?
Dive into this.
There is a Netflix documentary, not a documentary, an animation, and I'll show you some pieces from the animation on it. The wife. So the wife of all the sons, she gets gambled away in the dice game. And so the cousin, because they're cousins, right? The cousin is ha ha ha, arrogant, let's dethrone her in front of the court. And so
Game of Thrones.
Right. Well, and the grandpa is here oh no. The teacher is here oh no. But they can't do anything because they're not the rulers. And so this is the story about what right action is. All of these people acting in wrong ways. It's a very human story, right? All of these people that are not behaving in the way that they're supposed to be behaving, that's righteous. They're not behaving in righteous ways. So they're trying to disrobe this woman, and she's kind of fighting them until she says, Krishna, I am yours. You protect me. And so they start disrobing her, and the robe goes on forever, and ever, and ever, and ever, and she cannot get disrobed. But that is a huge insult to the brothers, right? And to her. And actually, in that moment, she curses them. And so all of these bad omens begin to pop up. And the king is blind, and there's jackals laughing. And so we can hear, it's all of these audible cursing things that are this is disrupting. So instead, they exile all of the brothers, they exile the wife, and when they come back, after 13 years, which was the agreement, they don't give throne back. So now we're at war. And this is where the Bhagavad Gita takes us. They're because the brothers are well, just give us a plot of land over here. Just give us a little something over here. And greed continues to say no, 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 no. And so they're at a point where they have to go to war. And so that's where we begin the story of the Gita. And funny enough, the story isn't so much about war, actually, but it's about talking to our illuminated selves in the times of war. So it's actually a conversation with the light. Rather than it being the Bhagavad Gita about fighting each other, it's about the struggle of having to fight each other. It's about the struggle of having to do what's right. Because Arjuna, who is the hero, is like, that's my grandpa.
Yeah.
That's my teacher. Those are my cousins. Those are my uncles. And so he obviously doesn't want to fight, right? He's like, isn't it worse to fight your family? Isn't that the sin? Is to fight your family? So that's what we're getting into. And it isn't, again, about the war. It's about, one, the seeds that have led to this, and two, about the peace and the conversation that Arjuna had in that moment. And that's really most of what we will be reviewing, is that conversation with Krishna on the chariot. So Krishna is an avatar. There he is. He's the blue avatar of one of the Hindu gods. But in the Bhagavad Gita, he's just a human. He's a powerful ruler. Until he presents himself as more. Until he presents himself to Arjuna in that moment as more, because of the conversation that they're having. So Krishna, it's funny how Krishna ends up with, or Arjuna ends up with Krishna. Both kings, the cousins, no, actually Arjuna and the king goes to seek his help, because he's a ruler of a noble household and he has a big army. The cousin shows up first, the king shows up first, and he sits at Krishna's feet, because Krishna's sleeping, to ask for his help. And then he says, I shouldn't be sitting at his feet, I'm going to sit at his head. So he sits behind. Right? So because he's that, but that's his arrogance, right? That's, again, part of what we're like discussing over and over, that greed, arrogance, selfishness. Like, that's what we keep coming back to in this story. Anger, lust. Those things are not helpful in this passage, right, in our life. And so he's like, well, I'm going to sit by his head because that's where I belong. I'm the king. And then Arjuna comes in and sits at his feet. Krishna wakes up, sees his feet, and there's Arjuna. So he welcomes Arjuna first, like, welcome. How can I help you today? And he says, well, we're going to war. And then he notices the other king, and then he says, oh, how can I help you? Okay, we're going to war. Krishna says to them, one of you can have my counsel, the other one can have my army. Army. Oh. One of you can have just me, and I promise not to fight. I will not fight in battle. And one of you can have my whole army. Well, the king chooses first. The army. Of course, right? Like, he's going to choose, he's like, well, if you're not fighting, then I might as well choose the army. And Arjuna is like, I get Krishna, right? I get your wife's counsel. I get his wife's counsel. I get to sit with him on the chariot. So this is very typical of the Bhagavad Gita, is that you see Arjuna and Krishna on the chariot. And that's why he's able to have these philosophical discussions in the middle of war. They're literally standing in front of each other, the two armies. And Arjuna says, let me see, let's pull up. So they pull up on the chariot, and he's like, how am I supposed to fight these people? This is impossible. This is an impossible task. And then this is the Bhagavad Gita. Okay? Whew, that's a lot. Questions?
No, I appreciate the explanation though.
Oh, good, right? It's a lot. It's a lot.
Like, I didn't know where things landed, so.
Good. No, and I want you all to be oriented to what we're talking about, because it gets very dense and chewy.
Yeah.
All of it is very dense. And so one of our Bhagavad Gita interpretations, the one on Kindle, is not dense. It's very much personal. You know, it's like having a conversation, putting into your normal everyday life. The other one is academic, and so you're getting passage by passage by passage into how the verses that are actually written. Okay.
I have a question about it.
Yes.
So how do we just, like, read it, just kind of dive in and just start reading it? Is there a specific way to read it?
So what I recommend for now is that you read 3 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
The first 3 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita for next month. Okay? And then the other Yoga Sutras, definitely, typically we would read one book at a time, but I will want to get into book 2, so I'm going to recommend that you read book 1 and book 2. And then we'll read them again, and then we'll read them again, and then we'll read them again.
The Yoga Sutras?
The Yoga Sutras,
Read
book
this
1,
one.
book 2. Mm-hmm.
And know that you're not supposed to understand them.
Okay, I know what I'm saying, like, is it gonna kind of follow in line with what we're learning, and like, yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
We want it to be familiar, but we understand, they were actually written so that you have to have a guru to explain them to you. And, or at least that's the way it was presented to me when I took a sutras class. I'd taken a couple. And I'm like, I just am not smart enough. I just don't get this. And they're like, you're not supposed to. And even when you think you do, there must be 50 books on the sutras. And they all have their own explanation. And they all have their own interpretation. I don't know, it kind of sounds like the Bible.
Yeah.
Their own interpretation. And so, I didn't live then. I don't speak Sanskrit. And so it's all up for interpretation. Now, the book that Krista sent out this past week, I'm just going to call it the Gentle Gita.
The Kindle version of the Gita.
It's great for starting to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of other ones that are really, they're hairy. That's all I can say. And it really takes someone explaining it to you to get into the mindset that they had then, of what they actually meant. And then, of course, you have, thousands of years of translational challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And you said it was the one with the orange cover? Is that the right one? Don't ignore all my other books.
I don't think so.
I wasn't sure.
No, I can pull it up too.
Yeah.
So you can see
Okay.
it.
Yeah, why don't I pull it up?
And this
Yeah.
is the Bhagavad Gita.
The Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's what we're talking about, okay.
The sutras, is there something, like a certain association for that? Have I missed that?
I think that we did a copy of Swami Satchidananda's copy. So let's, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
she
that-
says yes.
Do you all have the Yoga Sutras?
Okay, so honestly, I have like 6 different versions of the Yoga Sutras, and in order to understand them, I read all 6 sometimes. I'm not kidding. Like I like have like all of these books, and I have my computer, and like, so sometimes the Swami Satchidananda is a great version. Just looking at them is helpful. For the first time ever, just having your eyes on what they're actually saying is helpful. So let me pull up some copies so that you can see. I almost put him in here. I thought that might be smart. Shri Gurudev Shankar Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so one of my options looks like this. That's why it's orange.
That's probably why it got that orange one.
Exactly. I'm like, you're like close. You're very close on the color and the title. Color, title, check.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Now I will say that this copy uses Krishna's terminology is like my Lord, and you might find that, I don't know, you might not enjoy that, right? And so if you're not into calling God, Krishna God, then I would swap to the academic version instead, okay? Just saying. If you don't care, then get this version because this is very accessible and easy. I'm just kind of giving you a background because he is like, oh my Lord Krishna, thank you for being here. And that's consistently running through the narrative in this particular Gita. The academic version never mentions Krishna as Lord because it's academic, right? And that's this blue copy here. Yes, and I cite this a lot. And I'll pull it up for you. It's or maybe I'll just hand it around so you can see it. I just, like in reading the Bhagavad Gita, this version, I was like, this is great. It's a beautiful study, and it will help you understand the Gita quicker because it's personal. As long as you can get over that, right? Like that reading piece of like, my Lord Krishna. You might be okay with that, you might not, right? And I just want to be respectful to everybody's processes in that.
In the Yoga Sutra book, you're not going to give us a particular recommendation?
Yes, I have many.
Which version?
I have all the recommendations. Okay, so the blue copy, Swami Sachidananda. This is very Sachidananda Yoga Sutras. This is the one that Ashley and I are under the understanding that we recommended.
Oh, yeah.
Right? This blue version right here, Swami Sachidananda. This is very accessible. He makes it very clean. And you know what? I'm going to keep this, keep it simple for you all. That way you don't have to like go searching. It is not necessary that you get this. You can also PDF it. I'm not attached to you having to have this copy. It will make your life easier because of the commentary. Otherwise, you can go through the sutras and be like, what did I just read? Because that's kind of how it feels the first time going through the Yoga Sutras. The second time, the third time, until you read it a lot of times. And I said at least 7 times, right? Like at least 7 times to start really getting the gist of what we're doing. But that's why we're learning this. That's why we have a teacher. That's why we're actually like splitting up the pieces that feel important.
So you want us to get this?
This one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this copy right here, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali.
Do you recommend physical copy or Kindle copy? Because it is available as a book.
You can do whatever you want. Yeah. Yeah, I will say that like my first times reading the sutras, I highlighted, I wrote. I'm like, what? When I look back on my health stuff, yeah, right? I'm like, okay, all right, she was cute. She understood stuff. But it's a lot, right? It's a lot. It's a lot of information. Okay, I want to take you through briefly here a few definitions of yoga from the Bhagavad Gita. Yoga is equanimity. Ashley was talking about the struggle. No mud, no lotus. So I put all of these lotuses on here for us today. The mud is part of the process here on this planet. And the sages use the metaphor of the lotus to explain or to signify how even though we all grow up in muddy conditions, that we come up, we have the potential to come up as this lotus that's untouched by all the mud and only nourished by the water and the nutrients and the minerals and all the good stuff. So yoga is equanimity. Be steadfast in yoga. Perform your work established within yourself. Everything that you do,
Be established in who you are. Abandon all attachments to success or failure. Such evenness of mind is called yoga. And so the Bhagavad Gita brings us into this idea of selfless service. And just doing our work. Doing our work is an offering, as a sacrifice, as who we are. Yoga is skill in action. Yoga isn't just sitting still. When your consciousness is unified, there's no cause for worry, and you can devote yourself completely to what you are doing. So yoga is being completely devoted to what you are doing. Everything else stops. That's why we feel that on our mats, right? Like we get on our mats and everything stops, and we're completely devoted to our practice in that moment. And when we're not, we're like, oh man, that practice was hard. Right? We're like all over the place. We're like, I had a really hard time like just stilling myself. Like there's something going on in my climate that's changing a little bit, that's like fluctuating, modifying. Yoga is disconnection from suffering. Yoga is a physical and mental boundary that prevents external pain from penetrating the inner self. And the Yoga Sutra says, suffering that can't be avoided should be avoided.
That's one of the only times that the word should in yoga.
Right? And it's, the transliteration is not that either. The transliteration is more along the lines of like, yoga avoids suffering that is unnecessary. Right? Like it takes you away. So it's actually a protective layer. And this is obviously part of the mystical experiences, right? Like this is taking us now past the work that we're doing. Because avoiding suffering altogether is a mystical experience. Right? Like to get to the place where we're actually avoiding suffering completely 100%. That's hard. And like this is coming from a guy that's about to fight his family. Right? Like he's sitting in front of his family. I mean, and it's like, hey, listen, like don't worry, because this is all the way that it's supposed to be. This is the way that it's meant to happen at this time. We are at a crux in the matter of it all, where if things don't change, then we're going to be governed by greed, anger, lust, and selfishness. And that's not right. Yoga is the journey of the self. This is where we get yoga is the journey of the self to the self within the self. What Eknath says, in the state of quietude attained by the practice of yoga, one sees the self by the self and is satisfied in peace and joy of the complete fulfillment of the self. So, one of the basic principles of both of these texts, one, yourself is harmony, peace, joy, light. It's a conversation with the light. You are light. That's it. Any flaws in your character are just coming back to light. All the imperfections, all of the struggles, all of that, and all of our like chitta, vrittis going on, they're just bringing us back to this light. Because this is who you actually are. You are the light. So every time something that's not of the light comes up, it's like, oh, great, thanks. I didn't know. I will bring it to the light. Right? Thank you. That's me and Ashley, right? Like Ashley all the time is like, thank you. I didn't know. Thank you. This is important for me. That breath that she was talking about where she goes, that's coming back to the light. Right? Like, oh, illuminating something. Right? So think about that. And then the other thing is that there is something that we can do about our imperfections. And this is the path. This is not entirely just the Bhagavad Gita, but the Yoga Sutras gives you a very detailed explanation of how to act. Like they're very precise. Patanjali is very much like, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. The end. Okay?
I like that.
Right? There's the line.
So these quotes that you're pulling right here are all from the Bhagavad.
These are all from the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to show you Bhagavad Gita, and this is partly bringing us back to our seva and our
Okay.
service.
Okay, cool. Just checking.
Good. No, I'm glad you asked. It's not specific. I will specify better. Yoga also is an ancient and eternal connection to ourselves, and to that which is ancient and eternal, to that eternal flame, to that eternal light.
Can you say that?
Yoga is the
No,
supreme.
Eternal flame.
Sambandha. Sambandha. Okay, there's two cool words here. Sambandha and bandhas we're looking at very soon. The bandhas are like this internal vows.
Okay.
And same.
Okay.
So it's like this equanimity in our standing, and this eternal equanimity in our standing.
Okay.
You said that was the song?
The sama. And then it also came up in earlier here, and I didn't bring it up, samatvam. Samatvam.
So sama, same, bam is actually our second chakra, our sacral chakra. Bam is the root sound for our sacral chakra, which is in charge of our emotions. So this is saying equal emotions in all things, no matter what.
Okay.
All right? Okay, so service. This is what the Bhagavad Gita has a lot to say about service. Service. You have the right to your actions, but not to the fruit of your actions. Let not the fruits of your action or your attachments to not action or to the actions be your motive. So do your duty. Do what's right. And this is where we begin to see this word, dharma. Dharma, from the Bhagavad Gita. It is far better to perform your own dharma, even if it's flawed and imperfect, than to perform somebody else's dharma perfectly. Death in the fulfillment of one's own dharma is better than the path of another dharma full of fear. Like doing somebody else's dharma, doing somebody else's words, I don't know if you've ever found yourself doing somebody else's thing, and then you're like, what the heck am I doing? Right? Like, this isn't stirring my heart, this isn't something I'm passionate about, and I actually feel a lot of resistance in trying to do this, because if you're not fulfilling your dharma, there will be karma. Karma comes in when we're out of dharma. So what is dharma? Does anybody know? Duty. Okay, duty. That's good. I have a few definitions for dharma. Dharma means truth. It's not duty, it's truth. It's your truth. Dharma is your truth. It's who you are. The dharma of our body. What's the dharma of our body? I have a lumbar spine here that actually is a little bit of suspension for me. I have my arches that also have suspension. So I have all these arches in my body that help me bounce. That's my dharma. That's my arches, right? And you will have your arches too. That's the dharma of all of our arches. We have also the dharma of the way that we stand. We stand on two legs. When we stand on one leg, we're creating karma. Right? As soon as we go on this side, now we have this action that's out of our truth. And that action that's outside of my truth creates an imbalance, a disharmonious imbalance in my body. So we can think about karma and dharma just physically, right? Like those are easy ways to consider, like the truth of my body is, my spine has curves. When I remove those curves, I cause some serious karma, right? Like my hip flexors get tight, my back gets rounded. I stop looking at the sky, right? And I had a neighbor like this. I don't know. 10 years I've seen him walk around like this. He was like, I know. I'm like, and at this point, there's nothing I can do about it, right? Because straightening that.
He has fractures in the vertebrae.
And that is not a place that a yoga person can do anything about. When somebody's back is doubled over already. It would take time. It would take time. and easing, gentling into that. That's a lot of karma, right? That karma is created just from starting this.
So is the opposite of dharma karma then?
Not necessarily, because karma is just an action.
Okay.
But then dharma is the right action, the truthful action.
And then it's fine, and you said there's no discussion? You said it's right or wrong,
It's right, I mean, oof, that's a hard one. Knocked out by the question.
Like when it's weird thing, like having good karma?
Dharma is good, dharma is, it's actually more, it's a better term for good karma.
It's got good karma, like, oh, I'm gonna get some good karma. And then you're gonna get some bad karma from that, or whatever, you know how people always say that? So, but saying good karma isn't really like a real thing, it's like.
It's not a real thing,
Yeah.
no, it's, no, that's exactly what I'm saying, it's not a real thing.
Yeah.
There is no, it's just an action that has a consequence.
Okay.
And if that action is away from my truth, it's gonna have a greater consequence. And it's gonna have a consequence that's inharmonious.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say that again, if dharma is the right to action, or is karma?
Karma is action.
Okay, alright.
So, dharma is true, like your authentic, truthful self. It's who you came to be. What? Right? Like, what do you mean? I'm also starting to, how much time do I have? Tell me.
You have 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 50, like 5 minutes ago. I was like, oh my God, I'm out of time. Okay, good. So, dharma is also being conscious and being aware of your actions, your thoughts, and your words. It's also being aware of our environment and how we're affecting our environment. So showing up in a way that is conscious of our environment too. That's dharma. That's the real dharma, right? And that's why we were saying yesterday when Ashley said, like, it is a lot of strain when one student consistently shows up out of their dharma, right? And it's not even a student. Let's say, have you ever worked with somebody that doesn't want to be there?
Mm-hmm.
It takes away from the energy of the group. So if you want to be here and you're not feeling good, come. But if you don't want to be here, that's a different story, right? Like if you're like, I just want to be there, but like I'm just not feeling great today. Come as you are. Like that's, if you need to lie down, it's okay. We accept you as you are, right? Like it's not a big deal as long as you want to be here. As long as this is your dharma. If this is your truth to be here, please come, however you are. It doesn't matter. But if you're like, my heart's not in it, I can't, then actually remember that takes away from like the whole thing, because it's a half-hearted adventure. You want to be all in. You're all in, right? That's the commitment we're making, is that we're all in. Okay, what else do we have here? Dharma means truth, the right way of living. Human behavior is considered necessary for the order of things in the world. It's big. I mean, these are big concepts, and we are talking big concepts. All this year, we're talking big concepts. That's my job, is to bring these big concepts and start bringing them into chunkable, chewable pieces for you. Having compassion and sensitivity to the needs of others, and ourselves. Don't forget. Right? Like everything we do for others, we want to have that same compassion for ourselves too. Being awake to the existence of that light within you, the divine within you. Being awake to that peace, that harmony, that joy. And if you're not awake to it yet, don't worry. Right? We're just settling in. We're just starting to be like, what does that feel like? Right? Like there's like this, yeah, that's it. And this is the frequency we want to be coming from. Is this heart-centered awareness, connected to our intelligence, right? Both are important, that we're living in both of these spaces, but this is the frequency. And our asana gives us the root. So that's happening already. Every pose, root chakra. And then if we bring it into the heart and then take it into our intellect, that's yoga. Ultimately, Dharma leads you to remember who you really are. That's it. Dharma also brings stability and order, a life that is lawful, harmonious, and the striving to do the right things. Striving to do the right things, striving to be virtuous, to be helpful, to interact successfully with society. Actually, yoga is to be a good human. Right? Like yoga is not just our relationship to ourselves and that self-responsibility, but it's actually to be a good human to others, to have good relationships with others, to be able to move through challenging situations, to be able to have the challenging conversations, to bring that fire sometimes, to be like, this is not right. Let's stand up for what is right. This doesn't feel good. I'm actually standing on my right leg right now. Let's bring it back to center, right? Like, let's come back. And the greatest dereliction of Dharma is to desert the helpless in their time of need. Yeah, I know. And like Ashley said, yeah, all of this, you can take what resonates with you and leave the rest. Because these are old facts. And helping people feels great though, right? That's part of it. But we can't get attached to helping people either. If we get attached to helping people, then we lose ourselves, right? So we have to have that balance between here's my light and my light can help others versus I turned my light off and now I can't. Because if we're pouring from empty cups, that's also not helpful.
That goes back into the Viva and what we were talking about previously of the personal dharma, and then like then trying to give too much and then being in control and then in turn losing. Like,
and we'll talk about this next month about getting confused about who we are.
yeah.
Right? And like getting confused about being a helper.
Yeah.
Right? That's one of the, like, I'm just a helper, that's what I do.
It's a happy
This is who I am.
of control.
Exactly, it gives me this piece of like, well, let me see what you can do, and let me see what you can do, right?
Yeah.
Rather than like, come back to here, right? Standing on those legs. Like, come back to this truth right here. So, let's just take a moment to breathe and drop into our hearts so we can ask these questions. And this isn't the only time you're going to ask these questions to yourself, but just notice, I'm going to sit with you so I can also ground a little my energy. So sitting however you like, and you can either keep your eyes open or closed for any reason at any time. You can shift between your shapes for any reason at any time as well. And just take a moment, let's take 3 breaths, right? Inhaling in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's let it go. And inhaling in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just one more of those all together. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And it's as if you're taking a little elevator from your mind, from your mental process, or climbing down the rope, down into your heart. Take a little journey into that heart space, into the center of your chest. And notice if you can breathe here. So as you inhale, imagine you're breathing in from your heart. And as you breathe out, imagine you're breathing out from your heart, softening the body, softening the chest, softening into your life. Inhaling through the heart. Exhaling from the heart. Starting to settle into that. Spark that eternal flame at the center of your heart. You don't have to look for it. Just settle. Just keep settling. And if you can't get there, it's okay. Just settle into the And as we're starting to come back into our physical awareness, notice if you can stay present within your heart. And maybe you take some notes in your why. Like that page where you're writing your why, maybe just take a couple notes. And even if nothing came up, that's okay. Right? Because sometimes when we first start dropping into our heart, it's not as tight as we want it to be. Right? Like there's still a lot of like the chitta stuff going on. And so it can take a little time to really find that resonance. But once we do, it's a resonance we can trust. It's a resonance that's always there. It's a resonance that we can start tapping into at any point for any reason. So you'd be like, where's that light? Oh, let me turn it on. Another option is that you make two lists. One list of things you're good at, and another list of things you like. And where those two overlap, that's going to start giving you some really good clues about you. Does anybody want to share anything with that?
I guess I'll share, like, what with the meditation was, thinking about the things that I give back into and the things that I enjoy. And I really enjoy, and one of my biggest dorks is flying. Like, I just absolutely love it. And I am a part of a women's fly fishing group, and we started doing a free fly tying class for women that anybody can come to. And because like putting that energy out there, like we had somebody donate us a bunch of fly tying material, so we get to like be able to keep it free for anybody to come.
And this is a perfect example of Dharma.
Yeah. And then finding a place to be able to do it too, like, you know, just how it like all unfolds is like you put the energy out there and then like we have a free place to do it, like the community center, like coming about they'll like let you know, host things there for free just by being a member, like how cool is that?
You're gonna be chilled right now.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Super cool. And then the
It's
other
her
people
whole
wanna-
life, it's just
Yeah.
the way she rolls.
And everybody like wants to help out, so then they have like these professional fly tyers that wanna come and help and teach classes, so it's not just me being like, I don't know what I'm doing, but here we go.
Wow.
So it's just like really cool, like how it's just evolved. So I was just thinking about that, like how that's like evolved for me, of that thing that I love and that I'm good at, and like how if you really follow that, everything kind of starts happening for you.
Well, and it makes me think about how there's 4 aims of life,
Mm-hmm.
and the first one is Dharma. Follow your Dharma. The second one is make money.
Yeah.
Following your Dharma. Like,
Yeah.
your Dharma is gonna make you money because that's who you are.
Yeah.
And that's the promise, is that when you're in right action, you will prosper.
Yeah.
And then the third one is that you get to enjoy that.
Yeah, exactly. And the hindrance for me, what comes from me sometimes is like, am I abusing my Dharma because I'm creating financial gain from it, and like then I go, no, and then I'll have people be like, no, and then it gets pinched with like your worth piece, right? Like what is your value?
Mm-hmm.
And then do we disregard our value, and do we limit our personal Dharma based on the fact of like that our service isn't worth something, right?
Which is also karma, right?
Yeah.
Like that's on the, like that's an action that we choose that can actually create a negative consequence for us if we're not valuing ourselves.
Yeah, or valuing the service that we're giving either, right? We start shortchanging people who are not providing a good service and still charging them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, crazy amount and not putting on a good roof, right, or whatever. Yeah, so, anyway.
That was awesome, thank you. It's a great example. Yes.
Can I share on a, that was beautiful. Right. You have a lot of, there's so much wisdom in this room, and I really value being here, and just to reflect that this is feeling harder than I thought it would, honestly. Like, it's always hard for me to sit and be in things and stop moving, but like that meditation, like, sometimes when I try to meditate, it gets like almost physically painful because the emotion of what I'm trying to, either the emotion or just, I don't know, all of it, I guess, like thinking about my heart and like my purpose and it's all been like so broken in the last year that I'm really, really have struggled in trying to answer those questions that used to feel fairly straightforward. And I feel better right now in this moment than I have like for the last hour, because I feel like I just have this stuff that like needs to come out. Because it feels better than not talking and not sharing. Yeah, and the piece about like money, like this is very real. Like I lost my job and my salary, and like that is what has supported my family. And I'm at this point now where I'm like, okay, there are these things that I feel so passionately about, and there are these things that I know that I'm really good at, and I just can't seem to turn any of those into like an income that's viable for my family. And so it's like trusting the process. And sometimes some days I'm like, yeah, I got this, you're doing great. And some days I'm like, oh, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I have to figure this shit out. And I think the harder that you try to make it happen, the harder that it becomes.
It's true.
So, I so appreciate being in this space and being, like, this way of thinking is very, it's not new, but it's like, it's different than the way that I typically, think about life and how we take steps in it.
Thank you, Sarah. I know that it's a very challenging place, but I love this place. Like, I love not knowing in that moment, because anything is possible then. And I do feel like there is also this like root in our heart, right? Like, if we can continuously like the world is unsteady.
Yeah.
And the world is changing the only constant is change. Yeah, the only constant is change. But there's this eternal piece of this that doesn't change and actually feels really good. And that's the conversation that Krishna and Arjuna are having. It's like, I know this doesn't feel good. I know this doesn't feel good. And yet you have resources within you that are steady. And that's the cultivation of this practice, is that we're not just stabilizing the chitta, but we're stabilizing the climate beneath us, right? Like, there's the weather of like clouds are coming and all of this is happening, but then there's the actual climate. And that's the yoga, that we start stabilizing this beneath us. The next passage is actually quite apt to what we're saying. Or one of them, actually. There's a lot on seva, but to serve selflessly, no, not that one. Where's my passage? Sorry. At the beginning of time, now this goes back to the beginning of time, humankind and selfless service were created together. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that actually, like, humans were made for selfless service. This is what we came to do, is to serve the planet. And if you think about all of our mythological and all of our creation stories, they're about humans taking care of the planet. That's actually what we came here to do. Take care of each other, to take care of the planet, to take care of ourselves. And we don't get taught how to do that. We don't get taught how to do that at all. Like, we don't know. We've been told that we're eternally flawed, and that there's nothing we can do about it, and that there's no way to behave. There's no right way of human behavior. Actually, there is. There is right ways of human behavior. And we are illuminated beyond our wildest dreams. But we forget. We have forgotten who we are. So this is part of our remembering. Part of our remembering. And I say I love this hard place because you get to discover who you are. Like, the question of who am I is one of the most profound questions we can ask. And it's actually an ongoing question. We think that we like...
That's the thing. You never, like, once you're like, oh, I think I've got it. Like, you wake up the next day and you're like, and then it changes again. And then you just show up to, like, the next thing that's, like, thrown in.
And culturally, we get told that we should know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, when you're 15, you'll know. When you're 20, you'll know. Oh, if you don't know who you are by the time you're 30, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
If you don't know by the time you're 40, then what kind of human are you? You're flawed.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Like, I find it confusing when people are like, who are you? And it's like, well, I'm a mother. Well, no, that's not who you are.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm a wife, okay, but that's not who you are. This is my job title. But I don't know what else is left to be of who I am. So I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah. And that's it. It's an evolving conversation with the light within us, with that stability within us. So I hope this gives you some good thoughts about Seva. And I put some ideas at the very end of your PowerPoint slides. You should all have this in your inbox already.
Can you send it to me? Because I didn't get it.
Oh, okay, I'll resend it.
And just so you know, I sent you an email, but I can't access it because I didn't give a Gmail account, so I sent you one of my Gmail accounts.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll make sure and look at that.
Thank you.
I'll go into my computer and make sure all of this is here.
I see. You sent it to my Gmail account.
Look at you do have it.
That's fine.
You should perform your work with a view of the welfare of the world. That's my final thought on this today. The welfare of the world. Okay? Thank you all for the questions. Loka sangraha. Graha. It's actually, graha is a knot. And so, a knot, a graha. We have 3 great knots in our body. The knot in our belly. There's actually a couple knots in our heart, which are melting, right? Like, we're like undoing those little knots. And sometimes some people feel them physical.